This is the Steve Gruber Show.
All right, kicking off another brand new hour live here from the shadow of Detroit, kicking off a brand new day, kicking off another day of freedom from the foxhole, fighting for you every day from the foxhole of freedom, which is what we do every day. Lots of work to do. Let's get to it. Here are three big things you need to know for this hour. Number one, the end of the government shutdown is at hand, but it will take some time for things to get rolling again normally, so be patient. It is working its way through the House now, and it'll be here soon enough. Number two, affordability. That is the issue. It will almost certainly decide the midterm elections next year. It's what got President Trump elected, and people are demanding results, and they want them soon. They're getting angry. Number three, this week the Democrat Party eating itself alive on live television. It's glorious. Senate Democrats just voted to end the government shutdown. Yes, the same shutdown they swore was a moral imperative to protect their sacred cow programs. And the radical left is having a Category 5 meltdown. They're not just mad, they're feral. They want this pain to drag on for months, maybe years, just to bleed Trump dry politically. But even some of their own moderates finally grew a spine and said enough. And now the long knives are out for Chuck Schumer everywhere. The pitchforks are being sharpened. Here's Congressman Ro Khanna. He represents Silicon Valley. He's a leftist. He's a socialist, listing all the grievances with the Senate Minority Leader. Listen.
This was the straw that broke the camel's back. You had Chuck Schumer cheerleading into the war in Iraq. You've had Chuck Schumer cheerleading for a blank check to Netanyahu. You've had Chuck Schumer betraying us on the first shutdown. You then had Chuck Schumer given multiple opportunities after Zoran won the primary to at least endorse him, even if it was a pro forma endorsement. He doesn't do that. And now he's not even willing to fight to make sure that the ACA subsidies don't increase. So to your earlier question about are there difficult questions on SNAP benefits and group pay? Of course there are. And maybe if this was the only context, Chuck Schumer would have some grace and goodwill and say, okay, we disagree with this deal, but it's not enough to call for you to step down. But this is the culmination of someone who just doesn't get it, who doesn't get how much people are hurting, who doesn't get where the base of this party is, who doesn't get how upset this party has been that we're giving all this money to overseas wars and not doing health care here, who certainly is never going to support Medicare for all. He's just out of touch. He's not the future of the party.
Not the future of the party. Ro Khanna, Silicon Valley's favorite socialist in a $3,000 suit, just declared open season on the Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, and he's not alone. The Bernie bros are circling. Here's the senator from Vermont himself whipping up some support. Listen to this.
Schumer voted no, or is going to vote no, along with you. He did last night, and he's going to do it again. But a lot of Democrats are blaming him because he is the leader of the Democrats in the Senate. And some of your allies, like Congressman Ro Khanna of California and others, are saying Schumer should step down from his position as Democratic leader in the Senate. Do you still have confidence in him as leader of the Senate?
Look, Schumer and I have very fundamental disagreements about where the Democratic Party should be. And I am strongly supporting candidates for the Senate who are not part of the Democratic establishment, who believe in Medicare for all, who are prepared to take on the big money interests and fight for working people. All right, I have a very different vision of where the Democratic Party should go. If Schumer steps down, who is going to take his place? The truth is, progressives in the Senate right now are I think there are about 8 or 9 of us. We are pretty much of a minority.
Yeah, there you go. I'm surprised he didn't have his mittens on. Guess you could say the gloves are off, for sure. Bernie Sanders wanted the shutdown to be a crucible, to forge the revolution in the fires of federal employee misery, but Chuck blinked. And now the left wants his hat on a pike outside the Capitol for all to see. Bernie says he's in the minority, but that minority is starting to hold the rest of the party hostage. In fact, starting to hold the rest of America hostage. Hakeem Jeffries, Mr. I'll impeach Trump on Tuesday, wants to prevent being ripped apart by the radical left. So here he is vowing to keep the pain train rolling in the House. Listen.
America is too expensive. And far too many people are struggling to live paycheck to paycheck. They can't thrive. They can barely survive. And that's why Democrats have been waging this fight. And we'll continue to wage this fight. No matter what comes over to us from the United States Senate to the House of Representatives at some point this week. Our position as House Democrats has been crystal clear. We will sit down with any Republicans, anytime, any place, anywhere, in order to find a bipartisan path forward, but we're not down with their my way or the highway approach to governance. That's failed the American people. It's been a disaster for the American people, and the American people know it.
Democrats are trying to sell this as a fight for Americans. But newsflash, Americans not buying groceries at federal workers doing everything short of pawning their wedding rings. But Jeffries acts like he wanted to ride this shutdown like a mechanical bull all the way to 2026. Too bad the Senate just yanked the plug. He blames Republicans for the disastrous state of the healthcare industry, as if Obamacare isn't their invention and their invention solely. Not one Republican voted for it. Now for the meltdowns. Oh, the meltdowns. Here's this guy having a full-blown psychotic break from all of it. Roll it.
It is time to end the era of the feckless Democrat, too scared to unify the party and stand up to Donald Trump, to stand up to lawlessness, and in this case, to fight for Americans. And let's remember, what Republicans are doing is robbing millions of Americans of their health insurance. It is horrible what Republicans are doing, and it is equally bad that Democrats have lost their spine in standing up to it. But this is the moment when we recognize that is the old Democratic Party, and it is time to make way for the new Democrats who are born of courage and battle for the American people, not for bowing down out of fear.
Yeah. Democrats out there are close to breaking Donald Trump. Breaking him? Sir, the only thing breaking is your grip on reality. Trump was busy cutting deals with world leaders while you were rage tweeting in your pajamas. Fact. In fact, on the View, Sunny Hostin doing the same thing on national television, melting down. Here she is.
I want an opposition party. I think the Democrats caved. I think the Democrats let down the American people. And like you, Whoopi, I have absolutely no faith that the Republican Party will come to the negotiating table in good faith. You know, you do something like this, shame on you the first time. You do it twice, 3 times, 4 times, shame on me. Shame on the Democrats. Bottom line is the Democrats went into this after a blue wave out of the American people saying we do want the opposition. We the working people want the Democratic Party to fight for them. And now they just caved and surrendered. I think Chuck Schumer, his days are over. If he cannot keep his caucus together, he needs to go. He needs to be replaced.
Yeah. We're going to take a break. Look, the Democrats are being smashed on the rocks of an angry ocean of people, but the Democrats, they're not going to be alone if Republicans don't wake up and see the warning signs. Sit tight. I'll be right back. All right, I'll say this. Look, the people are angry. The Democrats are angry. The infighting is going on pretty clear. It's pretty sad when they say standing on principle means letting 800,000 federal workers go without paychecks for a month, while AOC and Bernie collect their paychecks without pause, all for trillions in funding for what amounts to a health care scam, as far as I'm concerned. Look, Obamacare failed. It failed by design. Democrats love to talk about the American people while conveniently forgetting that it was the American people who voted for Donald Trump in office and are behind his agenda. Not the agenda of the party that consistently takes the wrong side of 80-20 issues, but the real gut punch for the left came from 2 of their own, John Fetterman of Pennsylvania and Dick Durbin of Illinois. First, the man in the hoodie. Here he is.
It really wasn't difficult for me personally compared to the 42 million Americans now that they had their SNAP suspended, and then the military not getting paid. All these government workers now that are sitting at the desk right there in the Senate chambers. They haven't been paid in 5 weeks. And now the Capitol Police and all the air traffic controllers, they haven't been paid. And that's made flying less safe. So for me, that's been incredibly difficult for all of those folks and this kinds of chaos. So for me, this was the 16th time tonight to vote to keep our government open, and that's just I see doing my job, and it's the country over the party on this. And I know there's many people in my caucus are upset that we decided that, hey, I think it's wrong. It's always wrong for me, and that's where I am. And after 41 days, I think we can agree that it wasn't worth the kinds of chaos and trauma for our nation.
It was not worth the kind of chaos for the nation. Strange that maybe one of the only sane Democrats these days, the one who was targeted, by me included, by the way, the guy who had a stroke while running for the United States Senate. Shouldn't take a brain injury to admit the obvious. Fetterman might look like he just rolled out of bed, but he actually said the quiet part out loud. This was hurting real people, real Americans. Air traffic controllers sleeping in terminals. TSA lines snaking out the door. Veterans waiting on paychecks. But the squad, maybe should be renamed the firing squad, and the Socialist Caucus didn't care. They were too busy drafting their Medicare for All and also Your Dog manifesto. Dick Durbin, the elder statesman of the Senate, number 2 in power, admits that Democrats knew the shutdown would starve kids, but did it anyway to protest Donald Trump. He admits it. Listen.
Many of my friends are unhappy. They think we should have kept our government closed indefinitely to protest the policies of the Trump administration. I share their opinions of this administration, but cannot accept a strategy which wages political battle at the expense of my neighbor's paycheck or the food for his children. Mr. President, I yield the floor.
Mm-hmm. Durbin's been in Washington since the invention of the fax machine. Even he couldn't stomach the carnage. The moderates peeling off, the radicals screaming traitor. And Schumer, right now, I think he's probably hiding under his desk. I'll say it now. I'll predict it now. These moderates are getting primary next year. Now, Durbin, he resigned. He's gone. He's not running again. He doesn't care. Same for Gene Shaheen in New Hampshire, one of the 8. The other 6 are all going to get targeted for being reasonable after more than 40 days of insanity. But here's the kicker. The part the media won't play out loop. President Trump didn't just survive this shutdown. He used it. Listen to this.
Honestly, can I put it in plain words for you? And you're a smart guy, so you all understand, but a lot of people don't. The Democrats are getting killed on the shutdown because we're closing up programs that are Democrat programs that we were opposed to. So we're being able, and they're never going to come back in many cases. So we're being able to do things that we were unable to do before.
Able to do things that they were not able to do before. So while they were shutting down the government, the administration was shutting down their ridiculous programs. No more funding for DEI czars. No more billion-dollar slush funds for sanctuary cities. That's called draining the swamp, one furloughed bureaucrat at a time. Trump turned their tantrum into a scalpel, carving out the rot they've been feeding for decades, and the left knows it. And that's why they're not just mad at Schumer, they're terrified because the moderates are waking up. The base is fracturing, and the American people, they're done being pawns in this circus. The Democrat Party isn't a big tent anymore. It's a cage fight. You've got the AOC Bernie wing demanding purity tests and prolonged suffering, and the non-socialist remnant begging for a truce. Schumer's caught in the middle, trying to thread a needle with a sledgehammer. And Jeffries, he's still in the House vying to continue the fight for health care for illegals. This isn't leadership. This is cannibalism. The left wanted to hold 330 million Americans hostage to spite one man, but even their own couldn't stomach the ransom note. And Trump, he's already signing the executive orders. Friends, this is what winning looks like. Not with a bang, but with a whimper from the other side. The shutdown is coming to a close, and the Democrat Party is tearing itself apart on camera at the seams. Grab your popcorn because, well, the show's just getting started. But Republicans, do not rest on your laurels. Gen Z is fleeing you because the word is still affordability. We will address that in detail tomorrow. You don't want to miss that. Republicans, don't celebrate too early or too long. All right, there's your monologue for today. Meanwhile, fall is here. It means it's flannel season. Look, we got good news here. It's flannel season. Muskox, the undisputed leader in heavyweight flannels, has you covered. My absolute favorite shirt. I wore it in the deer blind last night. Their brand new heavyweight flannels are on the way. Already rated the best flannel by Gear Junkie since 2023. These aren't your average shirts. Muskox flannels are crafted with the softest, double-brushed, 100% cotton. Feels as good as it looks. Plus, every time you buy, they give back to conservation. So step up your fall wardrobe and get comfortable. Go muskox.com/Gruber or use the promo code Gruber to save $15. Look, they're not inexpensive, but they will last you a lifetime. In fact, you'll probably hand it off to your kids and grandkids. Go muskox.com/Gruber. Grab yours today. I'll be right back.